Taylor. I play with Sacramento Excessive. I've been playing for 12, 13 years-ish. My first 2 years I played in Washington, played on a rookie team called GOG, and then a novice team called Cartel. We won a world championship. Then I moved to California, got on the Ironman, which was a blessing after a couple months, played a full year of pro there. And then from there we created Excessive, and I've been playing with Excessive ever since. You know, we've gone back and forth with different leagues, so I've played with Aftermath, Infamous, a bunch of other teams and other leagues, but I've been with Excessive for 10 years now. Excessive was created by myself, Rich Telford, Michael McLaughlin, Matty Marshall, a number of the guys that came from Ironman. And really it was Micah McLaughlin that spearheaded the whole thing. He left the Ironman for, you know, reasons, whatever, we don't need to talk about that, but then he started the ball rolling of starting a new team, and then basically most of the Ironmen joined him in the efforts to create something that was our own. Something that we could own, brand, make product, maybe make a viable living off of, and go around the world playing paintball, and it was our own thing. So yeah, we did it, and we've been doing it ever since. You know, it didn't work out exactly like we had planned, but it's been our thing, and you know, still got Rich and I, the original founders, as a part of it. Yeah, so why did Excessive lead the MPPL? It was really, it was kind of pushed, it was kind of led by our sponsors. You know, our sponsors don't sponsor the MPPL, and the PSP is making moves with the webcast and going forward. So last year we won the World Championships in the MPPL, and then the MPPL kind of took its own route. They went to a fully one league sponsored, one company, right down to the paint you shoot. And as most of the teams that didn't work for a lot of the pro teams, you know, last year you could, as a pro team, you could shoot whatever paint you wanted. This year you couldn't. You had to shoot, you know, their paint. And I understand the MPPL is doing what they have to do to survive in an industry where there's fighting going on back and forth. So I think that was one of our big decision factors was, you know, we're gonna back our sponsors. We're gonna go where our sponsors want us to be, and where they're supporting, and they're not supporting the MPPL. So we made the jump to PSP. So why is Excessive struggling this year, or why, you know, have we struggled over the years? And you know, over the years, obviously, we started out with one of the biggest talent pools on Excessive you could ever have, and then we added to that to the point where we had so many talented players that we also had Excessive in energy, because we just had too many players, and both teams were awesome. But you know, if anybody's followed along over the years, all those players left, and we've done just a lot of rebuilding. You know, Excessive's rebuilt and rebuilt and rebuilt, and we bring players on, and we feel we help them grow as paintball players, and then someone else picks them up from us. You know, that's been a story of a lot of our players. This year coming in, honestly, we really thought that we'd be a top contender, top 4 team right off the bat. You know, World Cup last year, we went 2-2, and we could have gone 3-1. We had a really close game with Infamous. You know, I mean, that could have gone either way if we'd have won that. You know, we would have been a 3-1 team, and everybody'd been, you know, super happy. So, like I say, coming into this year, we really felt we were prepared. We practiced. We did everything. Now, we did lose a couple bodies, and we had to replace those bodies. And you know, I didn't think it was a huge, you know, we lost really good players. The Bornstein brothers, we lost both of them. One quit playing paintball, and the other one now plays for the Ironman. And he's one of the top killers, you know. And so, you know, but the players we picked up are solid players, maybe not the experience level of the Bornsteins. But for whatever reason right now, it's just not clicking. It's not gelling. You can see it in all aspects of the game. You know, we get out there and we could be up on bodies, and sometimes we lose a point. We're down on bodies, we pull it back, we still lose the point. You know, we honestly, normally I could tell you, hey, if we do this, we're gonna fix it and things are gonna be fine. But we're missing just a few pieces, and I can't put my finger on what those pieces are. Whether it's changing our style of play, because we played so much 7-man. Maybe we, you know, went into cup with a good game plan, or our game plan's not right. Maybe it's we don't have a right diversity of players, right? Because sometimes 1 or 2 players make a complete difference, because you have enough defenders, enough killers, enough hiders, enough communicators. So, you know, this year we just haven't figured out the piece to our puzzle. You know, not necessarily to the PSP, but to what's going on in our camp. We haven't fixed it. Usually we fix things faster. And like I said, I think the reason we're behind the ball is because we really expected to be a top 4 team. I mean, we thought we were going to come in, you know, 2-2, 3-1, be no problem in the Champions division, not in the Challengers division, in the Champions, you know. And yeah, you know, we were stumped at event 1, and then at event 2, we go to the Challengers division. Maybe we're still overconfident, thinking, okay, well now it's just the Challengers division. We'll be right back next event. You know, then we go out there and all those teams played us well. I mean, they play really slow paintball, which we're not used to. I mean, they'll take the back 5 bunkers and never leave them. And we're willing to play a 15-minute match with 1 point. And we're not used to that, you know. I mean, that's not my style of play. I like to go forward. I like to go get into the mix, you know, go bunker someone, get into the fight. So the field's changed. You can't really do that. You know, hopefully they're going to change fields back so they're a little more aggressive, a little more fun. And you know, on top of that, we're doing some moving bodies around, fixing it. But yeah, I mean, we're struggling this year, and you know, it's the most humbling experience of my life. I'll tell you that much. You know, my personal thoughts on the Challenger division. I think it's good in the fact that it's bringing up some talent level from below, and it's making everybody else strive to be better because you don't want to end up in the Challengers division. But you know, I think it's probably good for the webcast because you're going to keep the top 10 teams up there. But I also think with all those good things, there's all those bad things that go with it, because now you have teams that have what I feel are like a good backing, but maybe they say they're not great teams. I'm not going to mention any names, but they're in areas where a lot of paintball players follow them. What if they never make it back to the Commanders division, you know, or Champions division, you know? And then, so they don't get to be seen on the webcast. Like, I think that hurts paintball. You know, if you take a team, let's say that's in a state or a country where everyone looks up to that team, and even if they lose all the time, they still get to see them on TV or, you know, on the internet, but now they never get to see them again. How many years is that team really gonna last? Like, you know? Yeah, and that hurts because you have a whole fan base that wants to see them, right? And that goes around the state. Like, if you look at the way the teams are divided, yeah, California teams could drop down. There's other California teams to root for. But Seattle Thunder, they're the only team in the Northwest, you know. We got Aftershock, the only team really in the Midwest. Infamous is from there, but they're kind of from all over, right? You know, so you have these teams that are placed in certain areas, and in other sports, there's top pro teams that have the funding, the talent to be there, and they still are bottom teams, but they follow them. So, like I said, I'm okay with it in the fact that it's driving talent up. I just hope it doesn't hurt our sport in the long run. Yeah, no, I believe that's definitely what will happen. If you, you know, if you look at paintball for, you know, over the last 10 years, when I don't know if it was the PSP or if it was still X-Ball, they would do 4 events, and then if you didn't make the top 8 teams, I think it was, you didn't go to World Cup. As soon as they started doing that, teams started disappearing. Trauma disappeared, Strange disappeared, these teams disappeared, and they never came back. You know, they never came back. The people that were putting money into those teams, it's not like it went somewhere else. That just disappeared out of paintball, right? When the MPPL was doing its relegation, you know, the bottom 2 pro teams would go to semi-pro, and the top 2 would come up. We lost teams. We lost, you know, Miami Rage. You know, teams just disappear. They don't stick around because, once again, someone has to dump the money in there. And if they're dumping money into building a pro team that just simply gets knocked out of pro, you know, you don't see, you pick any sport, you don't see the Lakers being kicked out of their spot because they have a bad season. You know, they see them going and picking up the players and spending the money to do the right thing. So, like I said, right now maybe it's good for the webcast, maybe it's good for growing people in the short term, but I don't know if it's great for the long term. Paintball is my life. Paintball is all I do and have done for a lot of years now. You know, during the last 10 years, I've worked a few other jobs, worked for some companies, done some stuff, but the last 4 or 5 years, it's just been paintball. You know, I mean, a few little things. I got into real estate, you know, different stuff, but I have lived off paintball. When it comes to, you know, paying the bills, I've lived off paintball. And for the majority of at least the last 5 years, it's just been honestly playing for teams, getting paid to play for teams, as well as teaching. You know, I do a lot of instructing. I travel, I don't even know. I'm gone more than I am home when it comes to actual days in the year, you know. As of late, that's been more of a struggle because now I have 3.5-year-old boy and a 9-month-old girl, so the traveling is definitely a wearing situation. But as a whole family, we understand, because that's what pays the bills. In the last 9 months, I have been fortunate to have my first real job in paintball, which is working with the JT Splatmaster. And yes, I've been hired on and been doing not my own clinics all the time, but like Splatmaster type events where we're growing paintball. We're going to the Boys and Scouts, or Boy Scouts and the Boys and Girls Club, and we're going to fields, and they're bringing in brand new players that have never played before. And with Splatmaster, we're growing paintball, going to conventions and fairs and big venues around the world that paintball wouldn't normally be there. So that's what I've been doing for like the last 9 months, and it's very exciting, because to watch people be excited about paintball, even though it's Splatmaster, you're like, well, that's not real paintball, but it's something that younger kids can do. Like, mention my son again, he's only 3, but he can play Splatmaster. He can shoot, he can't pump it yet, he's not strong enough, but right around 5, I've seen kids pump him no problem, so he'll be pumping it soon enough. But he loves playing, he loves shooting targets, and so yeah, I feel pretty blessed right now, being able to work in the industry and work with kids and growing paintball. It's been fun for the last 9 months. Well, so making money as a professional paintball player is what we're talking about, right? Our professional paintball players don't make the money they should make, right? I don't know how else to say it. Like, there's so many other sports that I feel that are much smaller, and the professionals make more money, right? As just being a player, not doing any other job, just if you were to get paid just to play paintball. And like, I've been a pro for 10 years, and there was times where I got paid for just playing paintball, and that you just got paid because you were a professional paintball player. And then there was times where you had to work at it, and as the economies go up and down, as paintball grows and as it shrinks, not the companies feel the blow, but so do we. I don't think as a player, just a pro player, I don't think professional paintball is where it's at. We're where it should be, I guess is the right words. All professional paintball players should be making some kind of money. You should be making something because you're a professional paintball player. Otherwise it's a hobby, right? You might be the best at that hobby. So yeah, I wish that there was enough companies, enough owners. Like in other sports, a lot of times it's just owners. Rich owners that own it, but also they can work and sell enough merchandise and fill up stadiums to pay for it. So I understand both sides of the coins. If you own Sacramento Excessive, you're not filling up, whatever, you name a stadium with 10,000 people to come watch us play another team. So there's not this huge revenue behind owning a team either. So I still believe that all professional paintball players should be making money. Well, paintball in 10 years, that's, I've been playing for the last 10 years, so I've seen where, where we've all wanted it to go and where it's ended up. In my hopes and dreams, paintball in 10 years would be just a normally televised event where, teams did have stadiums and we travel around like any other sport and played it. Not at like tournaments per se, not coming here or going to a PSP or an MPPL, but an actual league for just professional paintball. Not that I'd want any of those leagues to go away by any means, but in a professional sport, there's the professional events, and then there's all the other things that grow from, little peewees, the tiny ones that grow up. That's where I would love to see paintball, where, you own a franchise, you have a professional paintball team anywhere in the world, we're going to travel to play against that one team, that would be my dream is, okay, well tomorrow, we're flying to wherever, to Canada to play Impact at their stadium, and that's going to be televised, right? And then, the next week you got to fly to, or maybe, Houston Heat's flying to Russia to play their team at their stadium, and then the PSP and the MPPL and the Millennium Series and, all the other ones, the CXBLs and the Asian leagues, all these other ones would be building all the other divisions to go to a pro team like any other sport, right? So that's where I would love to see paintball. I don't know how we can get from point A to point B, but maybe the webcast is the right deal. If we can start getting enough viewers Problem is we need to target people outside of paintball. You know, if we want to do that, we can't be, you know what I'm saying? Like, everything we do should be going outside of paintball, not just keeping the people inside paintball happy. So, well, you know, yeah. So, does the public understand, or does people outside of the paintball industry understand what's going on in paintball? And if you've never seen it before, watching it is the hardest thing in the world, because there are 10 people shooting at each other and there's really no focal point. And that comes down to us that have been playing paintball to explain everything to the T. You know, if you educate the public on anything, they will know it. You know, you know, in UFC, the ultimate, or mixed martial arts, people didn't understand the difference between karate and boxing and grappling, jiu-jitsu, right? All these different things that are going on, but they explained it and they explained it and they explained it. And so many people now are fighters that have never fought before because they understand the basis of it, they can follow it. So any format, I believe, really could work if it's exciting. It has to be exciting. It can't be boring and long points that don't happen. If paintball's exciting, which it can be if we design the right fields and, you know, give incentive for people to go at each other, it just takes us to educate them. So whatever show it is, whether it's the, you know, like PB Access is our show right now. You know, that's Matt Marshall's and Tar Martinez and the people that put that show together. It's their job to explain those games like they're talking to a 6-year-old or an 80-year-old that has no clue what paintball is, right? Go to the extremes, I guess. If we do that, I think, yeah, paintball can go anywhere. But you need to explain it like you're spoon-feeding a baby, right? You know, so we can accomplish it if we really put our heads towards it. We just, you know, you got to educate the public. JT and excessive, you know, JT came back because Junior Brown started working with Key Action Sports and has revitalized JT, co-branding it or with excessive, basically. You know, we believe as excessive that JT is a brand that can't die or shouldn't die because it's like a staple product in paintball, right? Like JT is a founding company. Like when people think of JT, they can think back, if you've been playing 20 years, you can think of JT, right? So we've been excited to be about, when JT came about, we're excited to be with it and be helping it grow. So you know, all the products that come out, everything that goes through JT is through us. We help, we test it, we make sure that it's going to be a product that's good for the market, something that's pro quality to use, and you know, it's cool. Like I said, I mean, if there's a company you want to be with, like, you know, I remember one of my first tournaments, I bought a JT sock hat. I had the big little thing hanging off my head. I probably looked like a goofball. I mean, I got a red mohawk now, so I still look like a goofball, but then, you know, JT's been around, so you know, JT's doing great. All the product that comes out is selling, and it's selling through. People love it, and they're not having any complaints about it. And I'm excited to see the brand just grow and grow. You know, we got the Impulse coming out in June, which is you know, a great shooting gun. I'm shooting it here. We've been shooting test models for, well, I don't even know how so long. I'm working through it. So you know, that's another new thing. And then when it comes down to, like I said, you know, ProFlex, it's still the best goggle in the world. It's been the best goggle since day one. So yeah, you know, JT's growing, and they're growing with excessive, and I hope that we're always like pushing each other. You know, JT's behind us as a brand and a company, and we're behind JT and building new products and making it better. For those that have seen that, you know, the gazillion posts I've shared with JT Splatmaster is a company that, like I said before, I'm working with, and it's probably one of the most exciting things for me, you know, being in the sport. As long as I've been in the sport, there's been just a huge gap in bringing in new players. You know, when I first started playing paintball, it was with, you know, an autococker, and, you know, people shot slow shooting guns, and you could go to a field for your first time and play with anybody, maybe you get 1 or 2 welts, right? Now people go to fields and they just get blasted, and maybe they never play paintball again. If they don't, they tell 10 friends never to play paintball because it hurt and they didn't like it. You know, it's something you have to work into, you know. So having Splatmaster, you know, JT Splatmaster is something you can get into, and at any age really. It's meant for the younger age, but, you know, those kids that are still 12, 13, 14 on the edge can play Splatmaster, get shot, and it's no big deal. And then they enjoy it and have an experience. And everything behind the Splatmaster is about an experience. Let's let people enjoy having fun playing paintball. down to the youngest age, you know, like my son 3, or you go to an actual field now and you can play at 6 or 7 years old. So not only is it getting people into paintball and not turning them away for the first time of playing, but fields are being able to grow their business. Because before, at least in the US, the cutoff is at 10 or 11 because of your insurance. Now fields are going down to 7. So now you have 7-year-olds coming out and that's what they want to do for the birthday party, and they run around and they shoot each other, and those would be the new generation of paintball. So yeah, I mean, I can't share it enough. We are growing paintball. We are growing paintball at the most basic young level, and letting people have fun. And I'm real excited to be a part of it. You know, outside of paintball, what do I do? Not very much. You know, honestly, my outside of paintball, you know, because I travel so much, I just really try to spend time with my family. You know, you know, make sure I spend time with my boy and my girl, and you know, I spend a lot of time at church, really. We volunteer with the youth group. I go to a women's Bible study. I'm in some classes. So between that and paintball, I don't do much else. Well, okay. So how did the mohawk come about? How did it? Well, I know how it stuck because I kept doing it. But no, honestly, the first time I did a mohawk was like, I think it was our 2nd year of excessive or something like that, and I just was gonna grow my hair out really long, and it was the summer, and I thought, this is a horrible idea. I'm really hot, and so when I was cutting it off, I started cutting. I was like, oh, let's see what it looks like, you know. And then I had like this mohawk that was way too big for paintball, by the way. And then it stuck around, and then I started messing with it, and then I started dyeing it, you know. And I've always kind of done weird stuff with my hair, even through high school and wrestling and different stuff. I'd shave my head and then dye it blonde, and you know, I'm not 100% sure why. Maybe I got a couple screws loose. but it honestly, it has become a trademark of who I am, and so now I've done it, and I've done every color in the world, and I, you know, flip-flopped it, and I've had lots of photographers, you know, like, hey, you know, keep it red. That's good for pictures, you know, and you know, you got to be able to sell yourself and have a trademark, you know. And when everybody's wearing a mask and you all look the same, it doesn't hurt to have a mohawk. My wife likes it, so I keep it. Hey, this is Thomas Taylor. Keep on watching 141 Paintball.